Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal astrology forecast for the week of July 12th through the 18th of 2021. All right, so this week we are coming off of a new moon, which happened last Friday and Saturday. So coming into the week, a bit lower energy of the cycle, but starting to build some momentum now. And if there are some new things you do want to start to implement, it is a great time to start to do that as we start this new lunar month. Now this week we do have Venus conjoining up to Mars. Venus is the feminine, receptive energies, and Mars is the masculine, assertive energies. So these are coming together. Could be quite a bit passionate maybe in our relationships, maybe a bit direct and assertive, yet also receptive and tactful and cooperative. At least that's a great way of working with this energy, how to unite that feminine and masculine sides of ourself and also in our interpersonal relationships. So this is happening in Leo, and so the moon will also be in Leo the first half of the week, which is great for self-expression, having some fun, doing the things we love in life. Is great with the Leo energy. Mercury will be trining Jupiter coming into the week, maybe a bit of an expansive mind. The sun will be trining Neptune, maybe a bit easy to go with the flow, a bit of receptive energy there. And the second half, the moon will shift into improvement-oriented Virgo. So good second half for doing the work and starting to challenge ourselves towards really implementing any new things from this new lunar cycle. Around the second half, around Saturday, the sun will be opposite Pluto, maybe some deep energy to work with, and the sun will start to shift into Cancer, which will put more of a focus on more of the protective sides of ourselves. How can we create a protective environment for ourselves and those close to us for the next roughly couple weeks with the sun shifting into Cancer. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here's the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, July 12th. As you can see here, we are using the visible sky, which is very different from mainstream astrology. You will notice a lot of the signs are different. For example, if you were to look up at the sky, you will see the sun in Gemini at the moment coming into the week, but in mainstream, they would say this is in Cancer. So definitely check out the link down below for more information on true sidereal astrology. All right, so let's do a bit of a recap, see where everything is energetically coming into the week. We did just have that new moon last Friday, Saturday in Gemini. The sun will be finishing this constellation this week. So it's a great week for really getting into our inquisitive side. Great time for learning and also our communicative side. So great time of developing our communication skills, maybe exchanging with others, developing our language. This kind of being interested energy is what Gemini is all about. Being a bit of a jack of all trades, interested in different things, interested in learning and exchanging with others is a great way to work with pretty much the whole week while Mercury does continue that transit there. But we do have Venus and Mars conjoining this week. This is the yin and yang combination, perhaps starting some new beginnings with our interpersonal life, how we relate with others. And again, incorporating some of that receptive yet direct energy, receptive and assertive energy. And this can be quite passionate in our relationships, a bit of fire coming in there, especially with this conjunction in Leo, which has been more of a shift since last week towards having a bit of fun, maybe some playfulness, doing the things we love in life, hobbies, interests, just getting into some of that self-expression, expressive, fun-loving side of ourselves, especially when it comes to relationships. I think is a great way of working with this whole week and really the coming weeks while Venus and Mars continue this transit of Leo. All right, and we're in the early phase of this cycle, so we are just building some momentum slowly but surely going through the week here. And if you did have any new shifts of perspectives since the weekend last week, it is good to start to implement these things, especially the later half of the week. Once we get to the first quarter phase, which is a more action-oriented phase, and where we do sometimes come to our first challenges of the cycle to implement, again, fundamentally what is this inquisitive, interested, side of ourself with Gemini. So let's go and break this down for each day of the week, starting first here with Monday. So Mercury, the planet of our mind, communications as well, kind of Gemini energy, is trining more expansive Jupiter. So coming into the week, I think it's great for thinking big, maybe seeing some opportunities or potentials that we could be reflecting on with Jupiter retrograde, but very supportive for thinking more abstractly, things that are more right side of the brain. So spirituality, the meaning of life, philosophy, things like this. We have a bit of that more higher perspective on life, which is great. And then interpersonally, it's great to be maybe discussing things regarding the more abstract stuff, more philosophical, maybe about the future, potentials, right? It's a bit of an expansive mind coming into the week, which is quite nice. While we are in this Leo energy, the moon will be in Leo this first half of the week. So while expressing ourselves and maybe having some fun and doing the things that we're passionate about in life, or just enjoying life. And this is also when we're going to start to feel that Venus-Mars conjunction. It is going to go exact on Tuesday. So again, a new beginning here with incorporating the yin and yang within ourselves, the feminine and masculine sides of ourselves. So great time of setting any intentions around this. How can we, both of these planets are about relationships. They're the interpersonal planets. And so could be some new beginnings there in terms of how we're relating. If depending on which one is more dominant in your own chart or in your personality, incorporating the other. So for example, if you are already someone who is quite cooperative and receptive and wanting to do the right thing, then this could be a whole new beginning with your more assertive side being incorporated into that, more of expressing your own needs and asserting yourself and being independent. But it is, again, more about the merging of the two. So it's usually this balance between the assertive and receptive sides of ourself coming out of that. If you are someone who is usually more assertive, more independent, then you'll probably notice the more Venus influence, which will be more tactful, more cooperative, more seeing eye to eye and wanting to do the right thing and stuff. And so great time of doing this, setting new intentions around balancing our needs, others' needs, our assertive yet receptive side, and a new beginning in how we're relating with others, especially in the context of Leo, which is again about enjoying the things we love in life and expressing ourselves and having a bit of fun and things like this. Could be a nice new beginning with both personally and interpersonally from this early part of the week. All right, and then the moon will be in Leo all the way through Wednesday here with that expressive nature. Now, once we do get to about the later Wednesday into Thursday, the sun will be trining up to receptive Neptune. So out of a normal time period, this would be a more easier time to go with the flow, a little bit more soul attuned, doing things more important on a soul level. But yeah, good time of being more receptive. And since this is a very strong relationship type of week, some compassion, some of that unconditionality, some of that acceptance could be quite strong coming into here. Personally, it is great for imagination. We do have the ethers available to us midweek. So imagination, creativity, even spirituality, this kind of more, having more acceptance in our life and doing things more important to us on a soul and spiritual level is definitely supportive this middle part. Now, Chiron will be going retrograde. This is very minor. We usually don't feel this very personally, but if it has been a healing year for you, it's now suggesting that for about the next 6 months, it is good to kind of rethink some of this stuff. There could be maybe a more pause with some of the healing stuff for the next 6 months, maybe starting to reflect on what it is we could be healing more internally. Chiron is in Pisces, so this is about healing the receptive side of ourself and being willing to go more with the flow and things like this. Maybe alone time, finding more peace in our life. Could be good to start to re-examine and look at in different ways. So again, very minor, but I would say the second half of the week going into the next week, if there are some things you want to re-examine or redo with the healing dimensions, I think that could be a good way of working with that Chiron going retrograde. All right, and then once we do get to the second half of the week, the moon will be shifting into improvement-oriented Virgo. So whereas the first half is definitely more about passion and fun, which it still is for the coming weeks, as I was saying, with Venus and Mars here. But the theme will start to go into improvement, Thursday onwards, which is great for taking care of things, doing the work, finding solutions, fixing things, developing our own routines and our habits and our service, right? This improvement nature, I think, is great this second half. And this is the first quarter phase of the lunar cycle, which means the sun and moon are in a square. And it's between the Gemini energy and the Virgo energy, which are both mutable. So the challenge here is how can we be interested, learn, maybe a bit social, wanting to exchange with others, while at the same time, create some personal development kind of stuff, create good habits, good routines, good structure. Both of these are about creating more flexibility in our life. Gemini becomes flexible by being willing to learn, and Virgo becomes flexible by putting these sort of habits or automated things into our life, right? The things that we don't have to think about, like a habit, it just becomes more second nature. That frees us up and creates more flexibility. So I think just all in all, that's a good way to work with this week, is creating more flexibility, both in the interested to learn and building good habits. Could be a great way of working with the square. And if there were any new insights you've had since last weekend about new things you want to develop in your life, we could come to the first challenges of this during the first quarter phase, the second half of the week. But fundamentally, it's good to challenge ourselves. How can we, buckle down, maybe put a little bit of healthy pressure on ourselves to take some action, some initiative, and build towards some of these new beginnings. All right, and once we do get to around the Saturday time, the sun will be opposite deep Pluto. And so it's not as challenging as, say, a square, but if there are some deep things that do need to be brought to the surface, again, it could be involving relationships, as the opposition often involves. This is all relationships, all interactions with others. But we could have maybe an awareness of the shadow dimensions of life, the shadow of ourself, the shadow maybe being projected back to us in other. And so it is a great time of diving deep and maybe, having more acceptance and awareness about these deeper aspects of ourself, and how can we integrate them in constructive ways, right? Recognizing that all these things that are a part of us that we've maybe hidden away or shunned away or exiled as a part of ourself, we can reintegrate and accept. And again, one of the great areas of doing that with is interpersonally through relationships, right? Because we all have the full spectrum of the human experience within us. And the more we kind of work with and reintegrate those exiled parts of ourselves, then we become more holistic and more transformed. So this can be a transformative time, especially with this intention to heal, to do some inner work, some deeper work. Also good to practice non-attachment, to help facilitate that process. And as a result, we could be feeling more transformed and more healed coming out of that opposition with Pluto. Going into next week, just feeling a little bit more reintegrated, a little bit more of our true self, and more empowered and transformed as a result of that. While we do that work with Virgo, improvement, building good habits, the very late part of Sunday, we'll have the moon shifting into Libra, which is good to find some balance in our life late Saturday going into Monday. And I do want to mention that the sun will be starting to go into Cancer over the weekend, the Saturday, Sunday time period. So the shift of focus will be for the coming weeks, more on creating a protective environment for ourselves and also for others. Right? Our more protective side usually comes out with Cancer, and it's about connecting to what's important to us emotionally in life, and creating that safe space to connect to our feelings and the past, and a more nurturing and caring side in those interpersonal relationships. So good to see that focus as well. All right, everyone. So that is the week in a nutshell. Most important thing is this coming into the first quarter phase of the cycle since the new moon last week, starting to implement. It's a very good implementation week and challenging ourselves the second half of the week. We do have this very nice conjunction between Venus and Mars, the yin and yang sides of ourself, which is great to incorporate both personally and interpersonally. We do have more of the supportive energy the earlier part of the week with some of the trines, and then the second half, again, challenging ourselves, and maybe around Saturday in terms of the deeper dimensions to empower and transform ourselves. All right, so everyone have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that like button if you haven't yet. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to check out MTZ Insiders. It is a free newsletter down below, and you do get extra content. So, the new and full moon videos do get released first for insiders, and there's extra videos that do get sent to your inbox. So absolutely free. Check it out. But again, everyone have a great week. Thank you again, and I'll see you all next week for the next astrology forecast. Take care.